The following programme has not been approved by any sanctioning bodies associated with MLS, US Soccer, or Don Garber. It is not intended to replace actual informed opinions from soccer experts. Side effects may include propensity to spout bad takes, excessive use of salary acronyms, and a longing for the return of running penalty kicks. The World Scam is not responsible for increased enthusiasm for Major League Soccer after listening. Enjoy at your own risk.
Hey, you. Welcome back to the World Scam. So happy to have you here on a lovely, cold, frigid night of the preseason in Major League Soccer. We've got teams doing their preseason best. We've got second teams beating USL teams in various parts of the world. We've got a lot of MLSs in Europe right now doing some preseason touring. Chief, what has been your favorite part of the off season so far?
Oh, it's absolutely getting mad that my team doesn't perform as well in preseason friendlies as I expect, knowing full well that they sub half the team off at the half, or that, maybe we'll go 110 minutes today. Who knows? But I don't care. I am still using like a true fan. I am using those results to make blanket statements about how this year is going to go. And to me, there is no sure sign that MLS is back, that I find myself getting mad about games that I am following along through a live blog or live tweeting. Yeah.
Grayson, is it okay to read too much into the preseason highlight clip posted by the other team's social media team?
Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah, okay, good.
Yeah, no.
Like I'm here to validate. I'm here to validate
permission.
Your feelings are valid. Fans are always valid. Fans are always right. Fans are entitled to feel however they want.
And everything you think about your team right now is correct. Like whatever it is that you are thinking about your team, even if that's changed as a result of a preseason friendly that you didn't watch a minute of, your takes are valid right now. And do not let lack of information ever stop you from putting your takes out there in the world.
You're the real sicko move is following the other team's live tweeting and social media videos to see if any of their videos or pictures capture your team's trial list. That that your team's social media people are being instructed do not show under any circumstances.
Right. It's everyone's favorite game. Spot the U.S. labor law violation in this social media post. Maybe it's there, maybe it's not. Who's to say? Whomst among us?
The photo editing tools at this point, especially on a mobile phone, way too good. On an Android phone, you're literally just circling trial list with your finger and they are gone. They have vanished.
Yeah, it's a good thing that these teams are holding their training camps in Florida, which is not being watched super closely for.
It's the right kind of immigration violation.
The Eye of Sauron hasn't turned down to the Gulf states yet.
Yeah. See, the thing with the Eye of Sauron is you're limited to just where the one eye is looking at that one time. So, you can get away with a lot.
As anyone that's ever played a stealth video game can tell you, as long as the eye's not pointed at you, you're free to move about whatever, cause whatever ruckus you want. As long as they're not looking directly at you, or the little exclamation point doesn't pop over the head, you're fine.
Yeah, the exclamation pops up. Just take the team on the road to CONCACAF Champions League right now.
We should just start tagging Palantir in all the lineups that we see from any MLS team that include trialists.
Who is this? Get those Google Street View savants like Rainbolt.
Yeah, the drop a pin guys from Barstool. It's like, let's do this.
We need to see where they are right now. No, it's a fun time right now in Major League Soccer because the teams are in various states of rebuilding, disarray, reloading, ramping up. It's pretty much all there for anybody to, as you said, just like feel completely validated by whatever they're feeling about their team right now. I want to start off here because I find this super interesting. The San Jose Earthquakes, not a team a lot of neutral MLS fans are sort of zoning in on, right? Like that's
but
not.
You should have been last year because they were one of the most, if not the most entertaining team.
Fact.
Like in terms of entertainment value per 90 minutes, they were. If they weren't number one, they were definitely in the team photo or on the Mount Rushmore, I would say, last year. You should have been paying more attention to San Jose last year, if this describes you.
Absolutely. And it was a team that made I think I was looking at this morning, a 20-point increase year over year from 2024 to 2025. It is, or was, Bruce Arena's first year with the team, very successful MLS manager, probably the best MLS manager, probably best American manager of all time. And then this offseason happens where Christian Espinoza is accidentally allowed to become a free agent. Blame everyone and anyone you want there. But I'm also looking at credit to San Jose fan who put this together, a list of players that have been shed from the roster since June of last year that include Joseph Martinez, Rodriguez, Mark Anthony Kaye, now suddenly Chicho Arango, the aforementioned Christian Espinoza, Nick Lima retired, Pellegrino, Hernan Lopez. They have shed almost $11 million in salary spend. This leaves who is it? Dave Romney as their highest paid player.
One of the New England expats that came over with Bruce Arena.
He's the highest paid player on that team, currently making a little over $800,000. They are still working on signing Timo Werner. That does appear to be working its way forward, but Chief, what do you make of what is going on in San Jose right now?
All right. So do you want the conspiracy theory take or do you want the real take? Because we can take this podcast whatever way you want to go.
I want to put my tinfoil hat on right now.
Okay. Tinfoil hat time. Let's play pretend here for a second.
Okay.
And let's imagine that MLS needs a soft landing spot for a person who's perhaps in a little bit of trouble at his current location.
Okay.
And we want to get him as far away from that situation as you can get, literally and geographically.
Okay.
And this person perhaps doesn't like paying stars and likes shedding big contracts and going all in on youth, young players, players that are good value picks, never going to spend a lot of money in transfer fees. My conspiracy theory take is that we're going to be pulling we're moving the Priest situation with Ernst Tanner moving from Philadelphia Union to San Jose. And we are already starting the process of building San Jose in the Ernst Tanner image of no one's making enough to buy a house in San Jose, but we're all going to play winning soccer anyway.
California is where you move people when they start generating bad headlines.
It's like with the old thing back in the day. It's like they had cholera, so we're going to send you to a drier environment, and that's what's going to fix you here. Is that they're sending Ernst Tanner to a where the air can be a little more healing for crippling misogyny and racism. I don't know.
I guess. Maybe. We got to figure out what was on those. We never figured out what Bruce Arena said.
No.
Or what Chicho Arango did. Chief, like, this is literally where they stash these guys.
Yeah.
This is like they've all had to take the black. They're up at the wall.
They're keeping watch over, I guess, the kaiju that may be coming.
They had to take the eye black because it's too sunny.
Oh, right.
I like it. Bruce is the manager and GM.
Sure.
So I don't know if Bruce would work with a GM like Tanner, but I like it conceptually.
It'd be funny
for
as
sure.
hell.
Well, so you say that, Grayson, but that would be the way for Tanner to get back, is like, he can't just walk into a GM role, but he could be a sort of advanced European scout type.
This is what happens. This is the Nick Saban thing. This is when you got yourself in Dutch a little bit in the college football landscape. You're Greg Schiano.
Yep.
You got fired. Nobody wants to hire you. Butch Jones, you got fired. Nobody wants to hire you. You'd go and do like a little bit of you do an internship with Nick Saban, rehabilitate your image, and get newly minted as a head coach someplace else. Maybe this is what they're doing here in San Jose.
I forgot.
Or at least that's my conspiracy theory.
It would
Lane
be funny.
Kiffin was one of those guys.
Yeah, sure was.
It would be funny if there became like a University of Austin of soccer clubs, where it's like, we're the anti-woke, anti-cancel culture team. And so it's like, whatever your ideas are, free exchange of ideas. Words are not violence. Words can't hurt people. Yeah. Whatever you did, whatever you said,
it's fine.
Come here, and we're just going to have, our own little, and then little intellectual dark net.
And it's content for Apple. It's like Last Chance U for MLS personalities. And like everybody goes there when they get in trouble. And then they do a reality television show based on with everybody, doing some direct to cameras. Maybe some people do the mea culpa. Others are like John Rocker, completely unapologetic, right, and just, we're going to continue spewing the bile. And, the head's butt there as to, you're caving to the woke mob by apologizing. And you're always going to be stuck here in San Jose for the rest of time if you don't get with the program.
Yeah, it would be fun to have them all like be roommates. Be like, this is like the whoopsie word house.
Housing costs, they might have to be.
Right.
It would be tough to get everybody kind of on the same page at training together when half of them are like going into like immigrant neighborhoods taking pictures of daycares.
Guys, I got the name for the show already.
Oh, please.
Seismic.
Done. Oh my God. Oh my God. Yes. Okay. So now I'm thinking,
or fault lines.
Fault lines is better. Fault lines is better.
Fault lines is really good. Or fractured.
Fault lines.
There's so many
fault lines. The season with San Jose.
Okay. So now we got to think. They've cleared up their DP spots. Timo Werner coming in, which you might say is a sort of reclamation project, a starter.
Which is crazy.
Right. Yes.
It is crazy to bring in Timo Werner into the team. I assume that they'll sign players, but like, he seems like a guy who needs to be in the right situation to like kind of have the best chance of succeeding in MLS.
It's San Jose. It's a situation where there's no like you go to San Jose and look, I loved San Jose last year. They're a classic.
You do.
They are a classic legacy culture team in MLS. They've been around this league. They're part of this league's DNA. But also, if you think about San Jose, the most that you think about San Jose is that they're not Galaxy, they're not the Metro Stars, they're not DC United, they're not Sounders. Like they're defined more by like being kind of the black sheep of all of these old school MLS 1.0. And I know Sounders are not really an MLS 1.0, but like all these MLS 1.0 teams, like it is a perfect place for Timo Werner to go be a little under the radar, because every time Timo Werner has had expectations placed on him, Timo Werner has miserably failed to live up to those expectations. So like San Jose is perfect. If he had to go to like LA, if he was going to Galaxy, he'd get eaten alive. This is great.
Okay, so we've freed up the designated players, whether they wanted to or not. Timo Werner's coming in. So who are the other two players they could bring in from abroad or within MLS that would sort of match our last chance sort of vibe? I have a name for you.
I got a name.
So they have to be DP type players, right?
I'll throw out my name first. Paul Pogba. Recently in the news as being out of favor at Monaco, has only made 3 appearances, was banned from the sport for a year. Would be a fun name.
Gio Reyna.
Gio Reyna makes so much sense for maybe every soccer team on planet Earth.
Yeah. Especially in this spot.
You can sell me Gio Reyna to Real Madrid. You can sell me Gio Reyna to Rhode Island. Okay, like all of them make sense.
I got one. Dele Alli.
Dele Alli's great. What, he just left his Cypriot club, was it?
No, he was with Como.
Oh, that's right.
For like a game, and I think they were just like, nah, this isn't really working out for either of us. See ya.
You can leave.
What about a cash for Chucky Lozano?
That feels like an earthquake move, even without our joking before this.
That seems like the most likely, makes the most sense kind of move, doesn't it?
Yeah, but it also fits the vibe, too, of like, what'd he do? We don't really know, but he has a home in San Jose.
Was maybe just an asshole?
Yeah, it's like, that should be the San Jose Earthquakes vibe, is San Jose Earthquakes. We don't want to talk about what happened before you got here.
If Matt Niazga was healthier, he'd be a perfect target for this situation right now.
Absolutely.
San Jose Earthquakes, we don't check your references.
Right.
Resume need not apply here. Like
San Jose Earthquakes. Hey, we've all got a past, man.
We're all running from something.
Right. We're all running from something. MLS needs a team like that. We need a team in this league where it is unapologetically like, come on, let's do this. We're all in this together.
So good. Chief, I will say, though, you talked about the conspiracy theory. Let's not forget, it is one Jeff Fisher who owns this club. I thought you were saying they were just tanking to move the club to Vegas. And
I was going to say, we only got to the conspiracy theory. Strangely, the non-conspiracy theory is this team's like, this is we're pulling a Columbus Crew or a Cleveland Indians in Major League, and we're selling this off for spare parts to move somewhere else.
I mean, he's struggling to get that stadium in Vegas. Does it get a little bit easier if you can somehow sell a Major League Baseball MLS combo stadium? I don't know, but there's a couple more dates in there. Not that baseball needs more home games, but
so point of order.
Yes,
it's John Fisher, not Jeff Fisher.
Jeff Fisher
was the coach of the Titans.
Was the NFL coach of the Titans.
Right. If you need your team to go 8-8, he's got you though.
Oh my God, he wouldn't survive modern NFL. They play 17
odd
games.
Number of games.
So if you go to John Fisher's Wikipedia, it lists him. I've never seen this before. It lists him as the principal owner of the athletics of Major League Baseball. So not Oakland Athletics, not Sacramento Athletics, just athletics. So this is soccer name taking over other sports, right? They're just called athletic.
Yeah, because
you just call them athletic.
Because Las Vegas Athletics, there's a trademark issue that a local bar owns the trademark to Las Vegas Athletics.
And they lost that recently. Honestly, they should call themselves the Athletic Wanderers. And I think that's way more fun. And then they could just sort of have they were talking about the Rays, or maybe once upon a time the Expos, sort of splitting home games in a couple of different markets. Why not have a fourth of your games in Oakland, a fourth of your games in San Jose, a fourth of your games in Sacramento.
No, just follow the San Andreas fault line. It's like really on brand. Just go up and down the coast right there.
Just
play a little in Reno.
Bring back a barnstorming team.
Yes.
Yeah. Right? This team, they play in Iowa. They play in Nebraska. They play in Montana.
The San Jose Bananas.
Oh, yeah. Actually, we just described the Savannah Bananas. Might be a fun way for the Athletics to sort of go out nicely. Is join the Savannah Banana League or whatever
cinematic universe.
Yeah. I know they have like a Texas Tornado team, and they've started to create a couple.
They've decided that it's not fun if if you're playing the Washington Generals every week. There needs to be 5 different Washington Generals for us to beat.
Yeah, of course.
Right.
Well, Chief, I know they were a favorite of yours to watch last year. Maybe this year you can watch your beloved San Jose Earthquakes on the Walmart Saturday Showdown. That's right. We get another featured game of the week.
Cool. The Walmart Saturday Showdown. This is
rolls right off the tongue.
Where are we on Walmart these days? Like it takes me like, if you're of a certain age, Walmart was kind of like the boogeyman of like Walmart is coming to ruin your town. Like the people of South Park have to kill the Walmart by stabbing the heart of it with a knife or something. Like they were like infamous for, we don't pay our employees enough, so they're actually costing the taxpayers more for every Walmart that opens up. Are they better now, or are they still shitty? I literally haven't followed this.
They're still just as bad. I think what happened is that they did finally kill off like all of the small stores that they were going to kill off, and then online shopping killed off the rest of them. So like that main thing stopped. And then for some reason, it does feel like Walmart has sort of like picked their lane and stuck to it culturally, whereas Target has taken all the grief in the world the last decade by sort of wandering in and out of different cultural lanes and annoying the hell out of whoever it was they just crossed the line.
It feels like Walmart is really comfortable being like Spirit Airways, whereas Target and Southwest are like, we don't know what we are, so we're going to suck at everything. I did buy a Nintendo Switch 2 from Walmart.com, so shout out to them for having stock and their website not crashing on launch day. I don't know.
Walmart has an incredibly creepy online or sort of like shopper profile creation system where people have gone online and documented this. You can drive to a Walmart store without your phone and go into the store and buy a couple of small items with cash and leave. And people will get emails saying like, hey, how did you like your new purchase? And there is like nothing obvious that should be able to link you and that purchase. So there is some sort of...
I did see that Google just settled a $68 billion lawsuit over their phones. Whenever you thought like, man, I seem to be getting a lot of ads right after I talk about I could go for McDonald's right now. I think my phone is listening to me. They're like, oh, no, that never happens. Our phone doesn't listen to you. Yeah, they just settled a lawsuit because phones were listening to you.
I used to get into arguments with people because they would say, like, with authority, you know, people who fancy themselves like tech people,
right,
would say, no, your phone doesn't listen to you. It doesn't listen to you. And I said, I know it listens to me.
No, you know how you know it listens to you?
Me because when it
has a microphone. Of course it's going to listen to me. Do you think that Apple or Google is like, hey, we're going to make this device that has a microphone that they can listen to everything that's going on, and we could make a lot of money by just listening for keywords and filtering you ads? Should we do that? No, that would be unethical. No. We're never going to do that.
Your phone is not listening to you. Your microphone's off, except for when you say the magic words.
Yep.
It knows to turn on after you've said the magic words, which it hears we're not sure how.
Right.
The mic's not on, except when it's literally always on.
Right. But don't worry, it's not. It won't listen unless it hears the word, "Hey Alexa," "Hey Siri," "Hey Google." Well, how does it process to see whether or not it's checking it. They would never, ever, ever listen to anything else you're saying right there. That would be bad. And if there's one thing we know about big tech is never bad.
Well, the path of this always goes like, oh no, we're not getting your data. Oh, well, we get your data, but we don't keep it.
Yeah.
It just processes through and gets deleted right away. And then it's like, oh, well, actually we do keep it because it helps us, serve you better, but we don't share it with anybody. Well, actually we do share it, but it really optimizes the user experience at all these other apps that we can collaborate and share your data. And then it's just like, yeah, we got you.
Yeah,
we own you now.
Yep.
AI is going to take your job and your kids.
And you can tell everything, don't share my data, don't collect my data, whatever. One, you're at their mercy to follow that, but let's assume they do. The one time you accidentally don't uncheck that box on like the weird online magazine subscription that you forgot
dumps
about.
Your entire phone onto the internet.
It's got everything, and they've
everything.
sold it to everybody already.
How much do you think MLS collects about the average user? Because they're really bad at business. So I'm thinking probably they don't collect. I honestly feel better dealing with MLS because I think they're probably too incompetent to really profile their users that much. Like I still get emails to buy tickets to see DC United because one time I went and saw an away game at DC United. I was getting emails in French from Montreal Impact or CF Montreal for years after I went there one time on a work trip because they were playing the same night I was there.
Meanwhile,
I get emails from Inter Miami, and I've never been to an Inter Miami game at their stadium. I've never been to their website. I don't think I've never bought a ticket from there. I think it's just
you go to the unsubscribe button. It's like, why are you unsubscribing to these emails? It's like, I don't like Lionel Messi, and then it responds back, yes, you do. Fuck you, and then more emails.
See, that's what I was going to say. I feel like MLS either does not collect a single bit of information about their fans, their users, however we're classifying this, or they are, but MLS corporate just despises the fan base that they have. Like they
would be
are so annoyed.
They do hate the fan base that they have.
Yeah. It would be really funny though if they were like the only ethical company when it comes to data. They're like, we can't understand why all these other companies, the line is going up. What's wrong with us? We're doing everything the right way. We're deleting your data. We're not selling it to Continental Tires or Walmart or anything like that.
Do you guys remember when you went to your seat and you had a NFT?
Yes.
No, I don't remember that.
You remember NFTs?
Oh, I remember NFTs. No, I remember NFTs just because I'm mad. Like we didn't figure out a way to grift people with an NFT. Like I wanted to start selling like tweets from my Twitter accounts as NFTs. Own a piece of Warpig Chief for the low price of $1. You can own any one of my tweets.
It's still on the table.
I'd love that.
If anybody wants an NFT, I'll figure out how to make one. Just let me know what you want.
Yeah. It's Web 3.0. This is the future right here.
$25,000. Unless it's harder to make one than I thought, then I might have to move the price up.
Surely it's gotten easier.
I assume I just copy and paste it and like put a watermark on it or something, right?
Just sell a JPEG in an email. Yeah, you're fine.
It's funny because he's not a known figure to the World's Gam audience. So if you only listen to the World's Gam, you don't know who this guy is. But Kevin Grayson and I are friends with I'll say this. He's the most creative person I have ever met in my life. Like he is music, art, sculpting, made a mascot costume because he was bored, like out of a 3D printer and styrofoam and whatnot. He could have legitimately taken the world for billions of dollars in the NFT thing. Like just with like the Bored Apes made all that money. I'm convinced that, our friend Jonah could have legitimately been a trillionaire if he just would have decided he wanted in on the grift.
Slurm juice.
Yeah.
And he did the best possible thing he could have done with it, which is create a mock-up of the FC Cincinnati mascot as a bored ape wearing the new away kit that hadn't been publicly released yet, but had been leaked to some people.
That was great. That was the slow burn that months later you look back and go, hey, wait a second. Why was this thing?
Wait a minute. That was the jersey.
Oh, that is so good. So
Walmart
Saturday Showdown.
Yeah. Walmart. Yeah. Great. Cool. We got a new sponsor for the league. I don't know. Like Walmart seems like a bad fit with your average soccer demographic, but more
Last
power
thing
to
you bought at Walmart. Go.
The aforementioned Nintendo Switch 2.
Okay, Kevin.
2 basketballs for my 2 children because they just got into basketball.
I think the last thing I bought at a Walmart was probably a decade ago. It was a DVD of a Stephen King miniseries that had been on like HBO or something called Storm of the Century.
Nice.
I was traveling for a wedding and I was getting ready and just put on the TV and got like in the middle of this thing. And I couldn't find it on like any streaming services or anything, but I found it for like $4 at walmart.com.
Perfect.
Highly recommend, by the way. Very, very, very fun.
It was good.
Very fun little story about like, you know, when a mysterious event falls upon a small Maine town.
In a Stephen King written thing? That's interesting.
No, Maine? No way. We all went to a Walmart when I was in law school. Me and a couple of friends, we were all broke as hell. And we were at a wedding in Cleveland. And we decided we were going to buy a combined gift and buy a bread maker because that was funny with like the old school movie.
Yes.
But bread makers were really expensive. We couldn't afford one. So we ended up buying a quesadilla maker as like the next best thing.
That's close enough.
There was a girl we went to school with, and every day, like the next semester after that, was like, well, we were all in college. We were all in law school at the time. We were all kids. Like nobody was. Believe me, it was a bunch of kids attempting to buy a quesadilla maker in cash. But like every day for the rest of the semester, it was, why did you get me this? You would have been better off not getting a gift.
Oh, come on.
But then
quesadilla?
Then we went over to her house for like a study session, and she made quesadillas for everyone. It was very nice. It was lovely.
So you might have been the only person.
Well, it turned into a running gag, and then like everybody in my friend group got quesadilla makers for one another as part of their wedding gift. So everyone in the friend group owns a quesadilla maker.
See, that's adorable. I was thinking about this though, Grayson. Your story reminded me of this. The last thing I ever bought at a Kmart was the DVD for V for Vendetta, and I remember because I drove up there. I would have been in high school, and I only brought like my debit card, and they wouldn't sell it to me without my driver's license. I don't know why I was driving without my driver's license. So I had to go back home and get my driver's license to go back. And then when I went to buy it, they never asked for my driver's license. So that was very annoying. So
it's pretty for V for Vendetta. That's pretty on brand that they needed to see ID actually.
Yeah, right. Actually should have been on a list.
Yeah.
So, Walmart, sponsor the World's Game.
Yeah, no,
you can have more content like this, talking about all of our nice experiences that we've had at Walmart's. This podcast is pro public assistance.
Yeah,
so we're glad that you help keep people on public assistance.
Yes.
So we love the Philadelphia Union.
Yeah. That's the only union we like. Lord knows during the ref lockout we were teetering on Pinkertons.
Most anti-union soccer podcast in the country, other than maybe Alexi Lawless's.
Which ironically, I bet his is run by unionized employees with the Fox production staff. So what do you know?
It doesn't seem all that produced.
Oh,
I'll say
okay.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure if it was actually produced by Fox.
I don't think we can talk about lack of production values.
Right. We don't have any employees, but if we did, we would definitely hold captive audience meetings and tell them that we just like to deal with our employees, directly.
We're all a family here, and it's easier for you if you can just talk to us about your problems, because once the big bad union comes, we never get to speak with one another ever again.
I think what's best about how you relate to the company and what you need in the workplace. I don't think you need a union speaking for you. And at Walmart, come on. We don't have an ad right now.
Definitely don't want to be paying dues. Ugh.
Yeah. Especially like if we had writers and people that we paid for the post, like, would you really want part of your paycheck going to support some politician you don't agree with?
Yeah.
I wouldn't.
Great point.
Yeah. All this and more you can see in the corporate mandated video, The Union and You, Why You Know Better Than Your Union Overlords.
Also, I'll direct you to unionfacts.com.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Righttowork.com.
On a similar note,
Philadelphia Union, yay.
On a similar note about the door being always open for employees considering unionizing, that was the quote from the president of CONMEBOL in reference to
CONMEBOL
clubs from the United States and Mexico.
Close, guys.
CONMEBOL.
The Konami code?
Up, down, down.
A, B, start, select. South America, let me phrase it that way. South America is open to the idea of the U.S. and Mexico sending clubs to play in the Copa Libertadores. Whenever this idea comes up, CONCACAF is not a fan of this. I think that is unsurprising. And FIFA does not seem keen on this idea. It is worth pointing out that Mexican clubs in the past were invited to play in the Copa Libertadores. There was also other similar-ish competitions where at least the winner of the Copa Libertadores or some collection of finalists would play CONCACAF finalists. I know that because DC United won one of those competitions back in the 90s. But Grayson, what do you make of this development? Because it does feel like Miami is trying really hard to get into this competition.
And they're really keen on the Miami being in this competition.
Yeah. I think bottom line, I think I'm against it. It seems like I don't think we need like more competitions. The CONCACAF Champions League is intrusive enough as it is, and I don't want to like destroy a competition that is open to Canadian Premier League and Central American and Caribbean teams to play in. I do, but
that's just cruel.
As I understand it, when this has gotten up in the past, CONCACAF and FIFA, probably not acting entirely independently of each other, have blocked it. I don't know if they could as it stands today, because
not in the world of the current litigation scheme that everyone's doing right now.
Folks may not be aware. I don't know, but there was the folks that put on the International Champions Cup Relevant Sports wanted to host competitive like La Liga and Ecuador, Serie A, or whatever they call it, games in the United States. There may have been another league in there too.
La Liga was the big one.
Yeah. And FIFA and CONCACAF said no, and Relevant Sports took them, or U.S. Soccer and FIFA said no, and Relevant Sports took them to court and won. They said it was a violation of U.S. antitrust laws to say that other leagues can't hold competitive events in the United States because it competes with professional soccer in the United States. That And so there may be other ways around it, but like based on that, if MLS really wants to go down, I don't know what Mexico's laws are, but if MLS wants to go down, I don't really see how CONCACAF could stop it. Maybe you say that if you play in Copa Libertadores, you don't play in Champions League because that's probably too much.
Yeah.
I would be interested in watching MLS teams in Copa Libertadores.
Absolutely.
Like, I think that would be an interesting and fun thing to watch. That said, I still think I'm probably against it until it happens.
What we're moving towards here is, if you're a college football fan, you know realignment. Like these federations, CONCACAF, CONMEBOL, the
UEFA.
UEFA, yeah,
CAF.
But like they're these vestigial organs of soccer where they were all decided decades and decades ago before there was huge money in this sport. And the cutoff line for CONCACAF is you can say it's continental, but it's otherwise it's arbitrary as to like where is the line between CONCACAF and CONMEBOL. And
parts of South America are in CONCACAF.
Yeah.
Yep. Like those like Northern Caribbean, South American countries, Suriname, Guyana.
Yeah. And
they're in CONCACAF.
And the reason why this gets...
Oh, sorry. I just want to quickly add, you have countries like Aruba, which are like 100 miles off the coast of South America. But Greenland tried desperately to join CONCACAF recently.
Oh, they want to be part of us. They want to be part of us there. They want to be part of us there. You know what? You're in for a penny, you're in for a pound, Greenland.
And we've seen Australia left Oceania to join the Asian Confederation. Israel and a couple of Central Asian countries compete in UEFA for political reasons. So yes, there's a lot of ambiguity here.
But it's like, of course CONCACAF is against it because the voting, and this is how Jack Warner was in charge of CONCACAF forever, is that the voting power in CONCACAF is on balance a lot of small Caribbean nations and Central American nations who they are not being invited to compete in these tournaments. Their domestic leagues, barely register, and their best teams barely register in these competitions, and they don't want to give up the cash cow, such that it is, of having Liga MX and MLS in their confederation tournament. But as we've seen in, like I said, college football, eventually the almighty dollar starts talking, or the almighty euro starts talking. And I think this is something you just need to get used to, that we have known for a while. Liga MX has been bigger than CONCACAF for decades. MLS is now at that position too. We haven't quite reached the level of Liga MX, but that's mostly self-inflicted. The second that they pull the shackles off the spending in MLS, there will be teams in MLS that could routinely compete with Liga MX teams. And naturally speaking, there will be money that wants to see these teams against teams in Brazil and against better competition down in South America, because there is nothing that replicates that in CONCACAF. It's why the property of CONCACAF Champions League, it draws no money for its TV deal. It draws no viewers for its TV deal. And it's been treated like an afterthought for MLS and Liga MX competition forever compared to the domestic league. This would change that. And the bend of sports right now is towards what makes the most money and the most, money for the most amount of people. And that does. MLS teams traveling to face better competition does. And it's a hot take. There's going to be a future at some point where MLS teams and Liga MX teams compete against teams in Europe. And there will be some sort of a cross transatlantic competition of some sort, not waiting for the Club World Cup. They're going to do it because there's money involved in doing this.
Yeah, I don't know what the economics look like for Copa Libertadores, but I assume there would be a lot more for the leagues than they're pulling in from Champions League. And definitely more eyeballs.
Yeah.
Right. More eyeballs on your teams, more exposure. It exposes. I know that MLS is actually doing, I guess I don't have a ton of data behind this opinion, but I think MLS is doing a pretty good job of bringing talent up from South America, but it would only make, those players more comfortable with your clubs, more familiar with your clubs. You'd have people who have seen your team play in person, who've already played against your team.
Yeah.
Who might then be a little easier to win over. You probably get more eyeballs from Europe on Copa Libertadores games than you get from MLS League games. So there's a ton of
Champions League games for that matter.
Yeah, there's a ton of reasons to do it, and I'm sure it would be something that actually does a pretty good job of elevating the league in a way. And I guess if Messi being in MLS is what eventually led directly to MLS getting some kind of participation in Copa Libertadores, that would be like one of the first concrete things that Messi's presence would have done to actually elevate the league.
Yeah.
Versus just elevate Miami or get more eyes on
Messi.
Miami.
Yeah. Elevate Lionel Messi personally.
Yeah. Right. I think you can't underestimate the sort of allure and the prestige of the Copa Libertadores tournament and trophy in South America with South Americans. Like, it is a genuine, lifetime achievement to compete in the competition and obviously to then win it, not unlike how we view the Super Bowl here in the United States. A lot of these big South American stars, when they would retire, quote unquote, from Europe, a lot of them go back to South America to their boyhood clubs in an effort to, at the very least, participate in this tournament, ideally win it. These guys, we don't see it so much being in the States, but when you're debating, Messi versus Neymar type thing, Copa Libertadores are one of the first things that'll get brought up. So don't underestimate the impact there. The other thing to keep in mind, this would not just be charity on the part of the Copa Libertadores. They have been exploring neutral site finals for a while. They would love to have a lot of these matches, all of these matches, if they could get away with it, in the United States.
Yeah. In Miami specifically.
In a Miami neutral site Copa Libertadores final.
Or Dallas at Jerry World. The other thing too, the bigger picture on this, because this is, it may happen, it may not happen, but I'll be the bad guy and say it. What Kevin was saying, what you were just saying right now, with this being a prestigious trophy that has history behind it, that has, real meaning behind it to players and to countries and to people, we're never going to have that with CONCACAF Champions Cup. It is I'm sorry, it's too late to have that happen. You can't fake the amount of history and the amount of prestige. And even if the trajectory of soccer and MLS and everything continues to grow and experiences a rapid exponential rise after the 26 World Cup, and we end up in this soccer future that we all think and hope for in this country, CONCACAF Champions League is still going to suck. It doesn't have the prestige behind it. And there is the amount of time it would take to get to that point. There isn't a timeline long enough, because right now nobody cares about winning it. So step one is somebody has to care about winning it. And then somebody has to care for generations. And then after 2 or 3 generations of players care about winning it, then all of a sudden it becomes important. So if we're going to reach that point where the competitions outside of MLS Cup mean something, they're going to have to come from somewhere else where that's already built in. Because there's just no way realistically to build CONCACAF Champions League or Champions Cup into that. And the sooner we admit that, that this is not a tournament that is going to grow into what people want it to, the sooner we admit that, then we can start thinking about better solutions for what we can do with our time. That's why unapologetically pro Leagues Cup, because Leagues Cup and CONCACAF Champions Cup, in the minds of the average soccer player right now, they're occupying about the same space, I would say, in terms of how much people care about it, which is to say, not a lot.
Yeah.
And so let's just rip the Band-Aid off and let's find better solutions.
The way you could potentially do this is, rather than having a CONCACAF team go compete in a CONMEBOL tournament, you would just have these countries switch their allegiance. And might I throw out there, Canada, United States, Mexico, and then I would throw in Costa Rica, and then I'll let you pick 2 wild cards. I'll throw out Jamaica and Curacao. You'd move 6 teams over to South America. That gives you a 16 team.
You know why that won't happen? It won't happen because of World Cup qualifying. And like all these countries like their position. Like, it's funny that, like, if you ask a U.S. men's national team fanboy, U.S. men's national team fanboys love CONCACAF because routinely we should be able to dog walk CONCACAF. The second you go someplace harder, then that ruins their day. And U.S. soccer is not going to make a choice that makes World Cup qualification harder for itself, which maybe points to the idea that your federation for World Cup maybe needs to be different than your federation for your domestic leagues. And just admit that there are two separate goals in mind, that your national federation, maybe regionality is the best way to go. But in terms of your leagues and your domestic leagues, it doesn't make sense to put MLS in the same spot with Curacao and Trinidad and Tobago and, the Dominican Republic. It just doesn't make any sense.
Well, Chief, I think what you just proposed there is we have basketball conferences and then football conferences.
Football conferences, yes. Once again, college football leading the way. Thought leaders. Somehow.
Oh, God. Let's see. We've got a couple of different transfer-related stories on here. I'll throw one out there. João Klaus headed to the LA Galaxy on a cashfer. It's about a $2 million deal. Tom Bogert reporting
feels low
that he should be a DP. What's interesting here, Chief, and I agree, that is a very low number. We've seen, I would say, worse players transfer for more money.
I thought that he was going to, at the very least, have the similar kind of valuation as when Javelic went to Sporting Kansas City. I thought that was the baseline for that. And I think Javelic went for like $4 million, something like that.
Now, here's the difference. Klaus is on the last year of his contract, and because LA Galaxy is dealing with Ricky Puig being out for this year, it does not look like they are going to offer a new contract. They're going to let him play out this 1-year deal. It's sort of their way of renting a DP for 1 year, which any team that has dealt with a sort of big DP injury has run into this, which is, sure, you can put your DP on a season-ending injury designation, but who do you get to come in to replace them for 1 year without, already having some sort of transition plan with one of the other DPs on your team? It seems like an ideal landing spot for Klaus, an ideal target for Galaxy. I do feel for St. Louis, but I don't know, Chief. Thoughts on the move here?
Well, when I first saw it, because it's it's obvious, and the Galaxy has said this is our 1-year replacement for Puig, but like, João Klaus, why do you agree to this? Like, usually, like 99% of the time, when there's a transfer, part and parcel with the transfer is a new contract.
Yeah.
And I know it's different in MLS because you sign the deal with MLS and you can be traded within the league, and the cashfers complicate that. But ultimately, you don't have a lot of say in how this works. But if I was, Klaus, he's got enough clout, no pun intended. I'm surprised he didn't say, you need to send me somewhere where I can work a new deal out versus having to play out the last year of this with no financial certainty past this season. Good on him if he's being a sport about this, and it's a good deal for LA because he's still a good player.
Yeah.
It's an odd situation to me when I first read about it.
It definitely is odd, and I'd agree with you. I'm not necessarily sure he would agree to it if it were up to him. I don't know exactly what that situation was like, but with these cashers, they work, as you mentioned, like trades within MLS. Unless they have a no trade clause, they got to go with it.
I mean, he wouldn't be the first person in MLS to make his displeasure very keenly noted by his non-presence at whatever organized team activities are going on.
Completely agree, which leads me to my second point, which is I think he's very happy to leave the expected dumpster fire of St. Louis City this coming season. So
spend a year in LA. I don't know, there's worse places to be.
Yeah. And ideally surrounded by a more talented roster, score a handful of goals.
Better weather.
Maybe that increases your value within MLS, outside of MLS. I don't know exactly what he's looking at, but I would expect his value to be higher at the end of the year with the Galaxy versus St. Louis. So if I'm him, I don't hate the move, but I agree. It is a low number for him to be moving on.
Low number, and the lack of a new contract is weird. But once again, the cash for system, this is the type of move that would have been a lot more difficult if someone had to offer GAM for the move.
Yeah. And speaking of, Colorado makes a cash for official here. They have sold off Cole Bassett to the Portland Timbers for a little more than $2.5 million. The add-ons could take that up to closer to $4 million per Tom Bogert. Very interesting move from the Colorado Rapids. Was sort of gauging the interest from Colorado fans online, and the overwhelming sentiment was, if the Colorado Rapids don't care about the Colorado Rapids, why should I care about the Colorado Rapids?
I feel bad for those. I don't know what the business plan is in Colorado.
It doesn't make sense. Grayson, I don't know. Is there logic to what's going on in Colorado? Like, they always seem okay. No matter where the playoff line is, they're always riding it. But I don't know what this deal is.
I don't know. I mean, their choices as far as who to bring in, giving Paxton Aronson a DP deal
after selling Mihailovic,
right?
Yeah, after selling Mihailovic, I don't know. I mean, it doesn't seem like the plan is to compete in 2026.
If you told me an AI was running that team, I would put it this way: I would not have enough data to tell you were wrong conclusively. That someone was feeding the roster data into ChatGPT and making decisions based on that. Where it's like, oh, should we sell Cole Bassett? That's a great idea. Cole Bassett would be a fantastic player to sell the Portland Timbers. If you'd like, I'd write up a term sheet for you and give you a projected valuation. It's like, go ahead and do that, and also tell me I'm cool again. There's no rhyme or reason to it. It's if you have in this league, if you have a front office that at least has a plan. It could be a shitty plan, but if they have a plan, you're better off than at least a third of this league, because Colorado is rapidly approaching the Montreal territory, where it's like, I don't know what they're doing. I'm not certain they do, and I'm not certain they care.
Yeah, there is a sort of like emerging class of MLS franchise that I am worried that San Jose is sliding towards, but they are such a wild card.
They've got Bruce
Arena
to see it
there, play out. Yeah.
And they're going to have Ernst Tanner here shortly. So as we've decided.
Fair. But I'm looking at Colorado. I'm looking at DC United, obviously Montreal. Like, I don't know what their plan is. I'd consider throwing Houston in there, although they have fits and spurts of success. But like bringing back Hector Herrera feels like a ticket selling move rather than like a winning move. So like,
right.
I don't know exactly what these teams are doing, or I have this like gnawing thought in the back of my head. I don't know if I'm just being a hater or not, but I've seen a sort of like distinct lack of swings on DPs this offseason with MLS. Are a lot of teams looking at Miami and maybe a couple of the other contenders and saying, what's the point in trying this year?
Maybe. Or, I mean, the other thought that I've had, and we've talked about it, the three of us, is that look, MLS announced some new rules, some changes to the roster rules this year. Unlimited amount of cash furs, cool. We're changing again the window with which you can be considered an international player or a domestic player. Now there's whenever you qualify, you fall off the list. We've dropped the cutoff date for that. We've aligned the summer window with Europe so that they both end at the same time, our window and the European window. But we all knew as we were waiting for the salary and for the roster rule and salary rule drop, everyone knows that the roster rules are changing next season.
Yeah.
And that they're going to be announced at some point this summer, probably around the World Cup final, that the big roster changes that are coming when MLS moves to the winter calendar. And I think that there are quite more than a few teams. I don't know that the Miami thing, I think there's a there that a lot of teams are looking at Miami, LA and thinking, you know what, we're playing for fourth place at best. Why bother? But I think that bigger than that is I think that there is either a lack of certainty about what the new roster rules are going to look like, or there is some certainty about what the roster rules are going to look like, and everybody has decided we're just going to wait until that takes place. Plus, not for nothing, there's I'm sure I haven't talked to any general managers in MLS. I don't know why they would ever talk to me, but I'd be shocked if this sprint schedule thing that's happening next fall or next winter is a complicating factor for what are you paying people? How are the contracts being structured? It wouldn't surprise me if a lot of teams were just like, you know what? We're going to wait to get full clarity on what the rosters are, what the rules are, and we'll go shopping in the summer, or we'll do our business in the summer after we know what life is going to look like as an MLS club in 2027 and beyond.
Yeah. Grayson, MLSPA lets out a statement about once every couple of weeks saying, hey, by the way, we haven't agreed to anything on this new season structure. Is that maybe like a bigger holdup than we're thinking about?
I don't think so. I think
they have no leverage.
Yeah, MLS has the ability to do a lot of stuff. I think they do need. I think they do need the PA to eventually agree to. I don't think MLS could do it unilaterally, but the CBA is up in what, 28?
Yeah. Coming up on renegotiation time anyway.
So, yeah, I mean, I think it's probably more useful to the PA just as a bargaining chip, but they're gonna go along with it.
Yeah.
The PA has no leverage in this spot. If they had leverage, the league wouldn't look like it does right now in the year of our Lord 2026.
Yeah. Maybe we see some easing on how a player becomes a free agent or something like that. But yeah.
And the other thing too, I mean, not for nothing, like a lot of this stuff is controlled internationally anyway. There's not a lot of like wiggle room on a lot of this shit.
Yeah.
So the CBA actually is currently scheduled to expire smack dab in the middle of the first post-schedule shift season. The expiration date is January 31st, 2028, which would be during the winter break of the 27-28 season.
So we might end up with an apertura clausura.
Yeah.
It would just be an apertura with no clausura, and they go on strike, and we get the traditional summer, we get the traditional winter off anyway.
I'm imagining the scene in Talladega Nights where the two kids get excited when they learn that their parents are divorcing by screaming,
Christmases.
2 Christmases. I'm hearing 2 sprint seasons. That's what
Yay.
2027 looks like.
2 half seasons make a whole season. Why not?
Yeah. Oh man. So let's see. What else do we have here around the league? Oh, I put this on here. I think it bears mentioning, Chief. USL Division 1. You want to take a stab at what they're going to call themselves?
Sure. Yeah, I went a little viral on the Bird app about this. Yeah. So, as you may or may not be aware, we are an MLS podcast, but of course, we'll occasionally stop to laugh at other soccer leagues that do business here in North America. The United Soccer League is in their state of perpetually promising promotion and relegation without really a clear, definite date as to when promotion and relegation is going to start, or really any other details of how promotion and relegation is going to work, not the least of which how finances for promotion and relegation are going to work, what they're going to do for clubs that are relegated. We could probably do an entire episode on the bizarre finances of USL because there is the way money moves around that league in terms of what is funneled from a club level to a league level. It's in many ways it's somehow grosser than how MLS operates.
I was just going to say USL operates the way MLS haters think MLS
operates. Yeah, no, it's the call is coming from inside the building when it comes to a lot of MLS hate. But so every so often, the way this is turned into now is that every so often USL rolls out some new detail of how Pro-Rel is going to work while dancing around the bigger issue of how Pro-Rel is going to work. So the big thing they dropped this week is, Kevin, we finally have names for what we are going to call the divisions.
Sure.
And look, I understand that being a soccer fan in America historically has involved some performative level of British cosplay. It's the reason why we wear scarves in the summer.
Yes.
Because we are cosplaying British fans. And we've invented summer scarves so that we can still wear scarves in weather where no human being should be wearing any additional fabric on their body. Like,
oh no,
one of the
another
benefits,
thing the winter schedule is going to take from us.
right. The winter schedule is going to take summer scarves from us. And that's sad because that's strangely one of the few contributions America has made to soccer culture is that we have invented this thing to make us more performative at being quasi-British.
Because it was really annoying to be like actually performative.
Right. And it's like, this is itchy and hot and it's 100 degrees out. I don't need this neck tube of extra wool material right here. But so like there's always this push and pull of what is authentic American soccer fandom and what are we just pretending to be, lads for. I'm of the mind that we don't need to cosplay a ton. We can be American. We can love this game as Americans. We can embrace and accept the fact that there is a world culture behind this, but also ensure and maintain our Americanness in this. Like, as much as anyone wants to, maintain Americanness in this moment we find ourselves in.
Fair play.
We didn't need to bring the dumbest part of soccer naming conventions over from the UK, where somehow the championship, winning the championship is not actually winning. The best team does not actually win the championship. The best team in the championship gets promoted to the Premiership, which is better than the championship. But then the goal is to be the champion of the Premiership, not the champion of the championship. That's a lesser thing to do here. So, of course, USL decided that the way their pyramid is going to be structured is there's going to be Division 1, the USL Premiership, the Premier League. The second division is going to be the Championship. The third division is going to be League One, and the fourth division is going to be League Two. Like, we did not need to do this. Like, the only reason this exists in the UK is that the Championship was the top league, and then the Premier League came in as like an, oh, by the way, we're going to create this other league, and we need a name that goes above that. Like, if things had worked the way they were supposed to in England, the Championship would be the champions of English football. Like, this is something they stumbled into in the dumbest possible way. We didn't need to do that. We don't need to emulate, because it didn't happen this way here. We can just call our top league the Championship. The second league can be League Two. The third league can be League Three. This would be okay. We could just do this.
And for all of the soccer purists out there, the Premier League was essentially the original Super League coup, where all of the big clubs in the then championship schemed together with the new burgeoning cable television channels and created the Premier League, and basically told the English FA that if you don't let us create this new league where we make our own rules and we sell our own media rights separate from you, we're leaving you. And put a gun to their head and said, you don't get Manchester United, you don't get Arsenal if we don't get our way. And they said, okay. And that's why the Premier League has its own CEO. The Premier League votes on its own rules. The Premier League decides how much of its media money it then gives down the pyramid, which is a whole nother matter. USL, for their credit, Chief, we were alluding to this, owned by a private equity firm, New Rock, who then owns the league, and the teams all have to like funnel all of the money back into the league. That's why there's been this sort of like bubbling, I don't know if it's conspiracy theory or even wish casting, that like MLS would just buy USL LLC, which is like,
which
wouldn't be that expensive. It would pretty well solve all of these problems.
It would be. The only way this would have to happen, though, is they'd have to do it like when Vince McMahon bought the WCW, where like on live TV, Don Garber announces that he has bought the USL, and then the USL goes to commercial and never comes back.
I was going to say the various USL teams become Washington Generals for a season or two.
They enter and they have the invasion angle where all of a sudden it's like, you think that Sporting KC is going to be playing Chicago. Wait a minute. That's Lou City's music. What are they doing here? They're a USL team. They don't belong here.
Not for nothing, by the way, USL not sending all of their clubs to the Open Cup this year as well. So
they're the bad guys. I keep saying this. They're the villains in this story, folks.
Not ideal. Very funny to have USL be doing this. Is there anything else around MLS? I feel like there's plenty of transfer stories. Alex Freeman sold off. We're still waiting on Toronto buying Josh Sargent, while Josh Sargent and Norwich have the big old hissy fit.
Like a staring contest at this point.
Yeah, otherwise, I think we're just waiting for, some more transfers and the start of the season, which is 2 weeks away for a lot of teams.
CONCACAF Champions Cup will start here in a couple weeks in February.
Man.
I think that the plan for us is we're going to try and do a little bit more of a season preview here in the next couple of weeks. I would like to. I'm going to pitch this. We're going to do some live show prep here. I think it would be fun to get a couple, beat writers from a couple of these teams. Like, what are they doing? Like somebody from Colorado, explain to me what you guys are doing. Like somebody from Houston, explain to me what the plan is, or explain to the listeners what the plan is. Because from the outside looking in, it does not appear to be anything happening.
I would
maybe like a round table of like a panel of what the hell is going on here. And they can all like talk amongst themselves as to, so your club isn't making any signs, ours isn't either. Wow, where's the money going?
The round table no other show would give you. Montreal, Colorado, RSL, San Jose, DC United. I need those 5 teams to be represented. And we all just sit around going, what are we doing? What's the plan here? What is the goal?
The most confused version of Around the Horn ever hosted.
I would love to have somebody on from Charlotte to explain what happened with that Drake calendar deal. Can you explain why the
money
club
laundering, right?
just decided to lose $300,000 for shits and giggles over the course of 3 months?
So
that gets you fired from most jobs, by the way, just blowing $300,000.
Not if you're in the startup industry. A good burn rate, that gets you more money in your next round of venture capital.
That's a good point. Maybe they got a new investor coming on board. I don't know about.
Growth mindset, Kevin. You got to have a growth mindset here. So that's in the coming weeks. Until then, release the tapes.
The World's Gam is a production of The Post Cincy. You can check us out online at thepostcincy.com, where you can find out more information about the people putting this podcast together. I also want to give a huge thank you to Jim Trace and the Makers, a fantastic band that has provided us with all of the music in this episode. The voiceover work at the beginning of the episode was done by Steph E., which was paid for her time and also not an AI voice. And if you have liked what you have heard so far, or even if you haven't, I am begging you, please like us, rate us, review us, leave us 5 stars. That would be amazing. Leave a little note saying how much you liked it. But maybe more importantly, share this with a friend or mention us to another fan of an MLS team. I think that would be a lovely way to help our little community grow. But regardless of whether or not you liked it, whether or not you share it, whether or not you review it, I want to say thank you for listening to it.